Are we live? Are we live? Are we live? Are we live? Devils defeat the Washington Capitals 3-2 in a shootout. Shimon Nemeth stays hot. He stays clutch. The Devils respond after Jack Hughes' injury. Terrible, news there. And they got out a win against the Capitals. I thought the good first two periods for the Devils. The third period, things started to crumble. Maybe even like the second half of that second period as well. But I can't talk about any of this unless I know that we are live. So someone let me know in the live chat if we are. It looks like we are. Thank you, everybody, for joining us here on Speaking of the Devils. I'm your host, Ryan Novozinsky, joining you from my hotel room in Washington, D.C., in the nation's capital. There's a bit of a, couple janky things happening right now. First of all, my light it's out of it's not charged fully, so it keeps going off and on. So I'm just going to turn it off. Doing this from my hotel room. I wish I could be doing this from the Capital One Arena, but it was just a pretty bad media setup there, and a very confusing, a bunch of renovations there. But the show must go on. So forgive the setup. Be sure to like and subscribe to these videos. So we do these live streams after every game to discuss the New Jersey Devils. Big picture takeaways from this game. For starters, I think that you have to talk about, the injury implications going into this one. And the Jack Hughes stuff was obviously gruesome and rough to hear. But there's a bunch of other, injury notes that the Devils are dealing with right now. The Devils are dealing with 7 other injuries, I believe, off the top of my head, to other players right now. So they're not only managing this Jack one, which is pretty darn huge. They're dealing with the loss of so many guys in their blue line. They're dealing with, guys up and out of the lineup, up and down the lineup, missing due to injury. And they managed to still, get some points here. They're managing to come away with points, which is pretty impressive. I think that Sheldon Keefe deserves a lot of credit in that department. The fact that he's been able to adjust, the fact that he's been able to adapt through all these injuries and not only come away with points, but come away with wins. I mean, the Devils have their 5th straight overtime game. They're collecting at least a point in every single one of these, obviously. But more often than not, I think 4 times out of the 5, they've come away victorious outright. They've come away with 2 points instead of 1. So I think that's a positive sign. Just a good big picture takeaway for the Devils. And then, center depth, that was on full display today. It's going to be tough for the Devils to manage this time away with Jack. There's just having down the middle Nico Hischier, who's not necessarily at the top of his game right now, or at least has in the past couple of weeks been. Dawson Mercer, Yuo Lamico, and Luke Glendening down the middle, just not going to cut it, right? Does Tom Fitzgerald need to go make a trade? Maybe, and whether that, but right now I just don't think that solution is going to come, only because I think this speaks to what the league is doing. We saw this summer how quiet the league was, how hesitant the league was to make trades here and there. That's kind of spilling into this season. There's a lot of parity in the league right now, so you'd be hard pressed to find a team to just give you one of their centers. And let's face it, teams are going to look at the Devils situation right now with Jack being out and with the center depth being as weak as it is, and Sheldon Keefe even admitted before the game that the center depth is a concern right now. They're going to try to extort you. Other teams GMs are, if they're smart, they're going to try to extort you. You want Ryan O'Reilly? Fine, give me Shimon Nemeth. That's what it's going to end up being. At least that's what I fear right now. A couple other things. Jake Allen was a monster tonight. I had to put up the nerd stats right here. Let's go to Money Puck and see exactly how many saves above expected he had. But I thought that in that third period where the Devils really crumbled, he was the sole reason the Devils stayed alive. On a lot of those penalty kills tonight, he was the sole reason the Devils were able to come away scoreless there. That was positive to see. Jake Allen, more so than Jacob Markstrom at this, during this point of the season at least, and just I would say, anecdotally speaking, I guess just in the games that I've watched over the past couple of years, it just feels like he steps up a lot more. He rises to some of these big moments a little bit more than Markstrom. And I know Markstrom was excellent in the playoffs, but it just seems like like game in and game out, like when you need a big game from Jake Allen, he's always willing. He's always going to give you that. He's always going to give you that strong performance. Tonight he saves, according to Money Puck, 1.47 saves above expected. Let's just see how many outright saves he had tonight. 30 of 32, 30 saves on 32 shots, and then obviously played well in overtime, played well in the shootout as well. And then final big picture takeaway before we kind of get into your guys' comments. I actually thought that the Devils had a pretty awesome first two periods. There was like a penalty kill they had in the second where things just kind of went haywire after that. It just looked like everybody had an extra step of motivation tonight, right? Everybody's down because of the injury. There's no doubt about that. Everybody, is feeling the pressure to succeed with Jack being, down with injury. It looked like there were players, even the players that have struggled a bit of late, and guys that you wouldn't expect to have a good night tonight. I thought in those first two periods, you really saw the emotion on full display from this Devils team. Heck, you saw that, really on full display whenever Luke scores his goal. Jesper Bratt goes down with an apparent injury after that big Ovechkin hit, which looked like a boarding to me. I don't know about you. And instead of celebrating, like he's screaming, he's like, he's like, F me, like kind of thing, instead of celebrating that goal. So I thought that, emotions on full display tonight for the Devils. But that's it for the big picture takeaways. Other than that, I would just say, just to emphasize my reporting before the game, I came to Washington, D.C. with one mission, and that was to figure out what the heck went on with this Jack Hughes injury. I know there was a lot of, speculation about that, even in this comment section, and I don't blame you for doing that because it seemed like there was a veil of secrecy going on with that, and a lot of times you'll see that when it's like some stuff happens in like a team, dinner setting or something like that. The fact of the matter is Jack Hughes slipped at this team dinner. He sliced his hand. He sliced his finger. I believe it was his pinky. And he ends up, he's going to be out for 8 weeks here. Freak accident. It's nobody's fault. I mean, this is, completely a one of those situations where you can't even be mad at anybody. Like, you can be mad at the situation, yes, but you can't even be mad at anybody here. There's no enemy in this situation. The enemy is just, man, this really freaking sucks. So, best wishes to Jack. He's more. If you think you're a Devils fan and you're frustrated, I promise you Jack Hughes is more frustrated about this. He's super competitor. You got to feel for the guy. So this is, just an unfortunate situation all around. But again, just to confirm, there was nothing foul play. This is no team cover up or anything like that. Legitimately, what happened is Jack Hughes slipped and he fell on a piece of glass, and that's how he sliced his pinky. He's going to be out for some time here. Let's get into the comments, guys. Lou from Peru says, Nemo, our Lord and Savior again. I said to somebody after the game, I was in the elevator, I was talking to this Devils exec, and I was like, this kid has a clutch gene, doesn't he? And they reiterated that. I mean, yeah, like the proof is in the pudding. I mean, this guy has the goal with 4.7 seconds to go against the Islanders to tie that game, to send that one to overtime. Then with like 14.6 seconds to go in one of those periods against whatever the next game was. These days are kind of mixing together. But he ties that game then. Game-winning overtime goal the other day. Hat trick the other day. National TV gets compliments from the great one himself. And then this game, he ends up having, the game-winning goal in the shootout as well. The clutch gene is there. And Zach Chin makes an interesting point here. Has Nemeth reached untouchable status? Huge 2 points. It's not about how, it's about how many. Dare I say we can actually compete the road trip, a perfect 5-0-0. That would probably be the most unexpected result of the season going into it. If you told us, with all the injuries that this team would suffer, that they would, come out of this 5-0-0. I think that a lot of you would have said that's absolutely, bat crap crazy. I will say this, though. This team, if nothing else, has some fight. This team, if nothing else, has some fight in them. This team, Sheldon Keefe, is able to adjust. The one thing that I talked about with someone in the press box tonight was, if the Devils are going to be successful with Jack out, it's not about high-powered offense. You're never going to replicate that offense. It's about how well can you stay at home in the defensive zone. I think in the first two periods you saw a lot of that. Then it kind of crumbled. They were on their heels a lot in that third. There's little doubt about that. And I'll tell you what, like that third period is certainly concerning. Certainly concerning. But for them to gut it out against a team that yeah, Washington's not the best team record-wise right now, but I think they play hard. I think they play hard. I think they're a physical team. I think they're, probably better than what their record shows. The fact that this Devils team was able to do that in what has been a hellacious 24 hours for them, even more so now, it shows guts. It shows guts. And in regards to your Nemec question, Zach, I don't know if I think untouchable is a bit much. And here's the reason I say that. A team this offseason, it's Nemec has he has no arbitration rights. Okay, Nemec has a team can come and sign him to an offer sheet, and that's something that could happen this offseason. So it's one of those things that Fitzgerald has to weigh. Do I want to trade this guy before I end up losing him for just a couple draft picks? Do I want to trade him because Devils don't need draft picks right now? Let's face it. Like I know a lot of people like watching the draft and following the prospects, and we all like that. Like the draft. Okay, great. You get a prospect, but you won't know about them for years. The Devils are in win now mode. Push the chips in. So I don't know. I don't know if untouchable is the right word for him because Nemec, he's really playing well with these improved minutes, and that's great. Can he sustain this? It looks like he can right now. He's done it for a number of games here right now, and he proved that in the playoffs last year that, when you give him an improved role, he can, take it and run with it. I'm intrigued to see how sustainable this is, A. And B, it's just that mindset I mentioned there. Did the Devils want to push the chips in, and is he does Fitzgerald consider him a chip, or does he consider him to be part of the big picture here? Because at some point you're going to have to pay him too if you want to keep him. Let's move on. Question of the day, Zach Chin. I love these questions of the day, Zach. Keep these up, man. These are a blast. If you could change one rule in hockey, what would it be and why? The obvious answer there is like the overtime thing, but I also kind of get it. Eliminating the shootout. But I also kind of get it because it's like an injury concern thing. I'd say... Oh, man, this is a good one. You always put me on the spot, Zach. I love these. I feel like you should just tweet these at me so I can think about these before the stream. I'll go bold here. Eliminate goalie interference because who the hell knows what it means? Who the hell knows what it is? Shiver Me Timbers asks, what an effort by the Devils. Nemec has been a beast. Allen was amazing, and Luke had a very good game. He sure did. I don't think this will be sustainable every night. I hope they get some more help soon. Yeah, tonight had all the makings of what felt like an emotional, we're playing this well because our superstar just got injured and we want to rise up for him. I'm very curious to see how this Tampa game goes. I'm very curious to see how the Florida game goes. This Florida road trip is going to tell you a lot about the team and what they can do against two, I know record-wise not the best teams right now, but two pretty scrappy teams. I have to sneeze so bad. I'm so sorry, everybody. Oh, it's gone. It came and it went. I'm so sorry. That was so embarrassing. I think this is the second time this has now happened on this stream. Luke was awesome. The team, is this sustainable? We'll kind of find out on this, on this two-leg trip, I think. That it'll show you a lot about what this team can do. Emotional win for the Devils tonight. They wore on their sleeves how much the Jack injury impacted them and how much that drove them post, in this one right here. For them to take that, take 2 points out of that one was pretty good. I think you Devils fans should take that result. Direwolf said, this was a team building type of win, had every excuse to fall apart at the seams in the third and gutted it out. Proud of the boys. All we need is to get in and be somewhat healthy. I was talking to Ken Danico in the press box before the game. It's like, look, we were just kind of riffing, and it was just, he said it best. He's like, get your injuries out now. Get your injuries out now, and be optimistic, and maybe this, things will swing come playoff time, and the injury luck will start being in the Devils' favor. I know that that's not something that doesn't work like that. Life doesn't work like that, obviously, but if they can get this out now and become a stronger team from it, I think that was good. I think that would be great for the team, obviously. And you're totally spot on there, Direwolf, in that. Again, first two periods, I thought the team was gelling. That was that high that you saw. Post Jack injury, the team is riding off that. But in the third, the fact that they didn't crumble all the way, they gave up the 2-goal lead, no doubt. But the fact that they didn't crumble all the way, the fact that they fought hard in overtime, burned a lot of clock in overtime too, I should add. I thought that was good. And good to see Luke get his goal tonight. Good to see Kritsuk stay hot. They're going to need his scoring touch. They're definitely going to need that because everybody's going to be needing to fly on all cylinders. Whenever with Jack Hughes out of the lineup for 8 weeks. Cranman85 says that they could lose the deserve to win-o-meter 99-1. I don't care how it gets done. Just get 2 points. That's the right mindset there, Cranman. Keep getting these points. The Devils are 13-4-1. And they have the 4th most man games lost to injuries. They are managing this better than any other team that's ahead of them, that's around their range in that man games lost to injury stats. Like the Golden Knights are 1, Florida's 2, Buffalo's 3. The Devils have the best record out of all those teams, and they're right around that region. They're managing this. Sheldon Keefe, here's a take for you. Sheldon Keefe, I don't know if this is hot or not, probably deserves to be the front runner for the Jack Adams right now. With the way that he's managing these injuries, it's been great. Duck Gusev. I have to read everybody the stat that Duck Gusev sent me during the game. So allow me to pull that up real quick. Where did he send me this? Oh yeah, right here. He said McMichael has 9 goals and 2 assists against the Devils in 12 games. That is a freaking ridiculous start against the Devils, especially that goal number. And it was almost 10 tonight, as he adds as well. But anyways, let's talk about your comment. Duck Gusev said, I tweeted this earlier, but that was a vintage KHL Grits power play goal. Totally agree, Duck. I was thinking about that myself during the game. I would absolutely love him to find a permanent home on that top unit that has issues with shooting the puck. As his scoring touch gets better and better, there's no reason not to put him on that top unit. You're right. That's the kind of goal. That's the kind of shot. Leans into it, one knee, claps it one time. That the Devils brought him over to do. I think that a lot of even the most optimistic Devils fans and Devils scouts weren't exactly expecting his all-around game to be this great. But that shot just continues to get better and better. That release is so good. You see that in spurts a lot in just over the course of the game. If he can carve out a spot for himself on that top unit or that top power play unit, I think that would be really nice. If there's any chance to do it, you do it now while there's a lot of injuries. Shiver Me Timbers again says Nemo also looked really good on power play. Agreed. Yeah, he was excellent power play quarterback 1. I thought that was really nice to see early on. Everything seems to be coming together for him. Makes Dougie replaceable in the future, but as of now, we need Dougie back immediately. Yes. Sheldon Keefe had a positive update about Dougie. I'm just going to reset all the injuries for you guys because there's so much. There's so many freaking injuries. So our man Josh Langer actually compiled these via Twitter before the game. So let's just go down the list. Hamilton, lower body, is skating. Return is TBD, but possible on next road trip. Brown, undisclosed. I think it's upper body, though. Is skating. Return is TBD, but possible on next road trip. Dadonov, I asked about him in the pregame. Fractured hand is progressing, getting closer to return. McLaughlin, undisclosed, not close to return. Kovacevic, knee surgery. Skating, but is expected to be out until 2026. Pesci, upper body, hand. Let's just call it the hand or wrist, whatever the hell it was. We saw him in the broadcast. It was a hand. Will be out this month. Jack Hughes, unfortunately, hand surgery. I think it's the pinky. Out until January 2026. Glass upper body is week to week. McEwen, lower body, expected to be out long term. So there's your Devils injury reset minute. There is a lot to catch up on. But yes, Nemec coming into his own is certainly making that conversation a little easier, I guess. But it's also making it harder in the sense that that right side of the defense, there was already going to be such a conversation that you had to have whenever Kovacevic gets back in the lineup. But we'll see what happens now. Let's see if Nemitz can stay hot here. Stan McCune, really need to see more from Meyer with Jack out. He's prone to these games where he doesn't look like his head is in it. And to me, tonight was one of those. Yeah, I thought he had a nice couple shots tonight. And that shot is just so lethal. But I would tend to agree with you. I think that Timo, you want to see that the Timo that was red hot at the beginning of the season, the one that was making us question if March was coming early because that's how hot Timo was to start the year. You want to see that guy back because like you said, tonight was just not one of his better nights. Chad Alley says Luke was a machine tonight. Sure was, averaging close to 30 minutes a game over the past several. And I do want to point that out too. I've been hard on Luke. Over the past several games, mostly because it was the dumb giveaways and then you got paid, so you're gonna get critiqued like a guy who just got paid $9 million a year. But he's been sharp offensively. There's little doubt about that. He's finally finding ways to get the puck through traffic. He's putting up a lot of shots. Let's see what he had tonight. Let's see. Luke Hughes had, I think they was probably a little less than tonight. 3 shots on goal tonight. The other day he had 7 or something like that, something ridiculous like that. But yeah, just ridiculous offensively lately. Okay, so we have in our Senny Gritsuk telegram. Let's see. Oh, this is amazing. From Telegram, our Senny Gritsuk. We beat Washington on the road today. Scored. That's great. Scored from a pass by Genius Jr. He's talking about Luke Hughes. Also got to see a goal by the great Alexander Ovechkin, though it's a bit unpleasant that it was against our net, but the main thing is the win is ours. I'll work on the shootout heading back home for a couple days and continue the road trip a bit later. Also wishing Jack Hughes could help, a big loss for our team, but these things happen, so we'll play without him for now and wait for him to return to the team. Wishing everyone a great day. Hugs to all. There's our Senny Gritsuk on Telegram. Absolutely fantastic. Genius Jr. Is what he calls. That's so great. He calls Luke Hughes Genius Jr. Moving on. Sam McCune agreed on Nemo being power play 1. He looks more natural out there than Luke does, in my opinion. I think a lot of players have looked a little bit more natural there. Him and Dougie. Nemo and Dougie have looked a little bit more natural in there. I little doubt that Luke will grow into that role someday, but just right now, it's not exactly his strong suit right now. And I thought that unit, even that second unit, was just moving the puck so well tonight, and they finally got the breakthrough, so that was good. One more thing, I feel like the soldier staring meme after Brat went down. Yeah, I think a lot of it's like the 1,000-yard stare, the PTSD stuff, if you will. I think a lot of people thought that when Brat went down. I certainly did. And then Dylan goes down too. Dylan missing from the bench for a little bit there. The team is. I am totally anti. The team is cursed. Blah blah blah. The team might be a little bit cursed. That was concerning, man. Cranman says, I'm asking before the start of the live stream, but what happened to Brat on that big hit by Ovechkin? It looked like a boarding to me. Right there. That hit from Ovechkin. It was kind of like from the back and against the boards, obviously. In the corner there. There's a reason that Luke Hughes just did not seem enthused at all after his goal. It kind of was like deflating a little bit. Let's see. Stan McCune agrees. I thought he left his feet a little on that hit. Victoria says, I honestly don't care how the team plays. The only important thing is getting the 2 points, so I won't complain at all. Exactly. Look, when your team is this injury riddled right now, you don't care how the points come. There's nothing to glean because this is not going to be the Devils forever. The Devils are not going to trot out a lineup like this forever. Things are going to change. The Fitzgerald's going to try to work to fix this team. Guys are going to get healthier. This is not going to be the lineup forever. So the fact that you're banking these points right now in a league that is so full of parity is very crucial. Very crucial. Rick Roma, great win. Nemitz can no longer be on the trade block, even when everyone gets healthy. Luke and Nemitz are studs. Quinn coming in a year and a half. That blue line would be lethal. It's just going to get real pricey. It's going to get real pricey. I wonder. I wonder. It's the question about him not having the arbitration rights. It's the question of the fact that teams could submit an offer sheet for him. It just was something that I kind of am thinking about right here. I lost my spot in the comments. Killer Bush echoes that Nemitz stays. Nemitz stays. That seems to be the growing sentiment among Devils fans right now as well. Wondering what's going to happen with Nemo when everyone is healthy, because he has been awesome these last games. It's the major question. It's what is going to happen with this right side of the defense in general. Do they look to trade Kovacevic after just giving him that contract, and after understanding that Jonas Siegenthaler plays so well with him? I wonder, what are your better defensive defensemen and a two-way guy kind of in Kovacevic, a penalty killer, a guy that could be a nice little shutdown line or a shutdown pair for you. I don't know what ends up happening there. Do you take the upside, or do you bank on Kovacevic? I mean, it really does make you think about that contract, though, because it's one of those things that I understand the contract, but I also kind of don't. I'm kind of in and out on that. I'm kind of flip flop on that. Rick Roma, I don't see a trade coming. GM's going to really try and fleece them with Jack out. Yeah, agreed. And I said that earlier today, and I was talking to someone in the press box about it. Everybody's going to try to extort the Devils right now. Everybody's going to try to. Why wouldn't you? You're a smart GM if you don't. Or sorry, you're a dumb GM if you don't. Victoria, round of applause for Keith for sure. To me, he's the Jack Adams. He should be the lead for Jack Adams right now. He should be the front runner. Dennis says it feels like Nico is definitely ailing. I'd have to agree. Yeah, offensively, he needs to find his offensive touch. I don't think Nico ever has bad games because he's so crucial, that two-way, 200-foot game. But yeah, it's just not been great the past couple of weeks here. He's the guy that you're looking at like, all right, Jack Hughes is down. Go play like a superstar. Go play like a superstar. Go play like the number one overall pick that you are. Go play like the guy that is needing a contract in 2 years. Go get that payday and make it worthwhile. Not that Devils are concerned about Nico's worth or anything, but show what you can do whenever a guy goes down. Rick Roma, Keefe is really good. Meanwhile, in Toronto, they're calling for Berube's head. We got a good one in Keefe. I never thought that Keefe was necessarily the problem there. I just think it's such a pressure cooker market. And I think that, he's won everywhere he's been. Every level that Sheldon Keefe has coached on, he's won in droves. Even last level, I mean, he won. He won the Calder won the Calder Cup in the AHL level. So, I think it's only a matter of time before he gets this Devils team on a nice little playoff run here, and then Toronto will really be missing him. It'll be like those little election posters that you see, those billboards that pop up where it's like the former president says like "Miss me yet" kind of thing. And I only say that now because we're in DC and I had to make some sort of political reference. I'm gonna go to speaking of, quick aside, I'm gonna go to the Watergate Hotel. They have a rooftop bar there, so that's like the pinnacle of like what a journalist has to do. I have to go to the rooftop bar at the Watergate Hotel after this, so I'm going to do that once we wrap up the stream here. Why did I just talk about that? When did I get on that tangent? It's been a long day, folks. You guys have no idea. It's been a really long day trying to dig around what was going on with that Jack injury. But yeah, Keefe is really good. I don't know why I just went on that tangent. Noah says, I'm trying to remember the last time a Devils team stuck to each other this closely. Everyone is picking everyone up. Perseverance is the real MVP so far this year. I talked to a former player today too, and because I mentioned the maturity thing, like because that feels just such like a cliche that we've thrown around so many times this year. They were pretty adamant that no, like that is a real thing. That is a real effable thing with this Devils team. They're mature. They're you never really feel down and out about them, even with all these injuries. Like, any team would have waved, any other team I feel like would have waved the white flag. So many teams in the league, at least, would have waved the white flag and that would have collapsed in that game. Devils collapsed a little bit from that third, and then they go out and they, play a sound overtime period. Did enough, burned a lot of clock, and then they bury it in the shootout. That's a testament to how much this team is growing. Damien says, it has been a brutal 24 hours. Tell me about it, Damien. But this win keeps my sanity in check. They needed this one tonight. They needed this one to save them from not. I don't think the fan base would have revolted, but you Devils fans are freaking dramatic, so I don't know about that. But I will say that it was good for them to squeak out a win, just for team morale purposes tonight. That was really nice to see. Guys, that's going to do it. We're going to wrap up the stream. It's a little late here. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you're new here, like and subscribe. We do this after every game. We do this when Devils news breaks as well. So come get your latest information live from all the streams here on Speaking of the Devils. Thank you so much for tuning in. We will see you after next game, Tuesday. It's my birthday, so be sure to tune in for my birthday. Thank you, everybody. Have a great day.